If you have chisels, plane irons, that type of thing in your wood shop, you're going to need, at some point, you're going to need to sharpen them. And one of the things they make is this little guy here, and you back the screw out here, and you put your chisel inside, and you get the angle set, and then you can put it on your stone and sharpen it. Well, that's good and bad, because these single roller guides, while they do work, it's very easy for them to tip like this. They're not that stable. You can tip from side to side with it here, as you can see here, pretty easily. So a company called Enjoy Wood, I've got the pieces right here, offered to have me demonstrate their honing set. And a little skeptical at first. It comes from Banggood, and yes, there's some good things there. There's also a lot of bad things. But what I will say about this, and I have opened the boxes and looked at these are really well built. This isn't some junky piece of crap you're going to get. Downside is there's no directions at all. So you're going to have to kind of pay attention here about how to use this, set it up. It's fairly self-explanatory if you're used to sharpening, but if you've never done this before, you're not going to know what to do here. So there's two pieces to this, and you need to buy them separately. One is the guide itself right here, and it also comes with this little angle guide here, so you can figure out what angle your chisel or plane iron is. And this here is fully adjustable this way, and you can also move the wheels to the other side if you need to, you know, if you're doing something where you need the wheels on the inside instead of the outside. So the second part of this is how you're going to get that angle set with the honing guide. Personally, I think this should be all one unit, but you do have to buy these two pieces separately. And this comes with a pin, a couple of alien wrenches, and some screws if you want to anchor that down to a bench. This here also comes with an Allen wrench in it, and that's all the stuff out of that. So we'll get that stuff out of the way here. We'll kind of show you how this thing works. So the first thing you're going to want to do here is find the angle of your chisel. And I just grabbed one out of my drawer down there. This is a combination chisel and rasp. It's not real high end, but it's one of them things you just beat on when you're doing some rough work. And it's been beat on and it's pretty dull. So you would take this gauge here and you would do this where you can see what I'm doing. It is marked here for what your angles are. So you just need to put your chisel in there until you find the right angle. And this one here is at 30 degrees. Interesting, you've got a list here for plane irons and bench chisels and mortise chisels. This does not fit in with the mortise chisels or the bench chisel, because I guess it's a rough construction chisel, because it is 30-degree angle. So to do that, you would take this here, this is marked and degrees on here, loosen this up, move this down to 30, tighten that back up. There's a pin then you drop in. That indexes it perfectly. It keeps it from rotating and moving around. So when you're done here, as you can see here, I'm right down at the 30-degree mark. So next, you would take your fixture here. I'm going to run the screw way in because I got to get into the narrow part here. So with the flat side up, you put it against the base there. Once you get get somewhat close, the flat side goes against the base. You place your chisel in here. preferably the right direction. You want the bevel up. Get that set in there, you can tighten your screw up here. Get a level inside. There's a little stop in there. And here's where you adjust your distance. You want the chisel to be level, and you want this all the way against the plate. So this will be down against the stops. This is against the stop over here. Then you would tighten your wheel down here. And you can take it to your stone, and this will give you the perfect angle. And I need to actually move the rollers to the inside because I am too wide here. So to do that, let's loosen these Allen screws here on each side. You back that screw out and just turn it around and put the roller in from the other side. It's going to depend on how wide your stone is too. So let me get these things here swapped around. Okay, this is how you would position them for a wider thing. The problem is my chisel that I happen to grab to bring up here is exactly in between where the two of these need to be. So actually I'm going to have to take my wheels, take them back to the outside, or maybe have one on the outside and one on the inside to get better positioning. This is, I guess, just kind of a oddball size. If you were working with a plane iron, you would definitely want to have these on the inside because your plane iron would be about that wide, and that way you would be able to get on your stone completely. So let's swap these back again. Yeah, I've got this swapped around, one on the inside, one on the outside, so I can stay on my stone. So now we got our angle set here. We'll set this back, and I will get this repositioned on there. Get that down nice and flat. And tighten that up. And that will give me the perfect angle here on my stone. And the wheels stay on the stone, so that's a good thing. So now it would just be a matter, and I don't have my stone set up and anchored down here, but you would just move them back and forth on here like so. And I would move to the wet stone here. This is pretty coarse here, but this is pretty banged up on the end too. So what I need to do is get that work down. Should be using water. I know somebody's going to say something, or oil. But you get the idea. And this was not perfectly flat right there either from when it was originally made. This one here has never been actually sharpened. So now what if you have something that's even smaller? Well, let me switch over here. Here I've got a completely different brand chisel, so I need to find the angle here on what they've done. Well, this one falls right between 35 degrees and 40 degrees. I'm going to say it's more towards 35 than the 40. That's what's nice about being able to look at this here and see what the angles are. So I would set this here then to 35. Let's pull the pin, loosen this up, move this down to 35. Put the pin back in, that locks it. Set my chisel in. Bring this up against the base. My chisel in here, get it against the base and level. Well, the end of that chisel wasn't ground straight, or it's been worn crooked. Okay, so now I can take this, take it to my stone, and same procedure as before. Keep the rollers on the stone. Yes, I know I should be using water or oil, but that will give you the idea there of what you need to do. Boy, I'm going to have to do some work on that one. That one's pretty crooked. It must have come crooked from the factory, or Popular Mechanics It's a brand name. I picked these up at a farm auction. Now we're getting somewhere. We're down to a finishing stone here, and yes, I did put water on it. It's nice having those double rollers there as it doesn't tip. So is that sharp yet? Just like that, razor sharp. So this guy here is going to need a lot of work. And man, is that dull. And I've got one more here, just to use as an example. This is a brand new one here. This is DeWalt 3/4. It's never been used, but it's got a little bit of a burr on it. So we could probably take that burr off on this fine stone. Need to find the angle on this one. And it is 25 degrees. So we'll set this up in here. We'll move this to 25. And you set this so it is all the way against the little stop here. And you set your plane iron or your chisel in there with the bevel side up. There's stops on the bottom, keeps it level. Just tighten up the thumb screw there. And that's, again, I like having that double roller there. Keeps it from tipping. You don't need to apply a lot of force if you've never done this before. Tune it off, and hopefully you can see where that's taken some of the original factory finish off of there. I'm on the right angle, it's just it's got a little bit of a hollow there. Need to get out. This is a pretty fine stone here too. I think we're looking pretty good there. If I wanted to get really wild, I'd go to the other side. This is a 3000 grit here. The other side of this is an 8000. I don't need to go that far with it. That's satisfactory. So there's a demonstration on how to use this. Again, these are two separate parts. You have to buy these separately. I don't know what you'd do with this if we didn't have this. This you could technically do without this, but this makes it so much easier to set your angles. And this also comes with the angle gauge right here, which is really handy for trying to establish what your angle is. I don't have any plane irons that need to be sharpened right now, but I do have several chisels, and I think I'm going to sit here and just whittle through my chisels and get all my chisels sharp again. I got some of these that, like these here, I use for heavy demolition work and that type of thing, and they're really beat up, so they need some serious work. This is again, this is well made. I mean, this is some heavy stuff here. However, it is not cheap. A lot of times you see the Chinese made things like this when they're red, that they're really, really cheap. This is not cheap, but it is not cheaply made either, and it's very, very accurate. And I love the flexibility of these wheels here and the ability to have two wheels instead of just the one, because it's so easy to rock, especially when you get a big plane iron on here, when you only have that single wheel in the middle. It's very hard to keep that straight without it rocking a little bit back and forth, and that'll ruin your edge. Or it doesn't ruin it, but it makes it uneven. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. I'll put a link in the description where you get this. It does come from Banggood, and this was shipped from China. Took a while to get here. However, I am impressed with this. Again, they did provide it to me to demonstrate, but I am really glad I demonstrated it. I think it's a well-made tool. So thanks for watching. I'm Roger in the loft above the shop. See you in the next one.